20-year thing. So.
Yeah, it just depends on how you define innovation.
Well, of course, it's kind of the nature of academic research, right? Everything is incremental. Like even for attention is all you need. It's still like from what it was previously, still an incremental change. It's just that opened up a lot of doors for people to do a whole bunch of other research topics. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just more academia. It's like, is incremental change really innovation? Which I mean, added up, your 10 years of continuous effort will lead to somewhere, right? But anyway, guys, hello. We see some familiar faces. We see new faces as well. So welcome to the AI Club. I am the president, Jerry. So and our officers.
I am the vice president, Noah.
I'm Sujit. I'm the treasurer. I'm sort of secretary.
Unless your hand is too greasy for you to grab your phone, please scan the QR code. If you're eating pizza, I'll show up, pull up the QR code later for SMU 360. But today, we're going to teach you how to fine-tune your own chat GPT. So let's get into some of the fundamentals about AI. Also, feel free to subscribe and join our Discord. We post these recorded videos on our YouTube channel for our archive. So feel free to do that. Oh, also, this is some old stuff now, but we few semesters back we did this same Discord QR code, but with stable diffusion. So we put a few different prompts in our QR code. I think there are more innovative ones here. Let me find it.
QR code like that?
Yeah. QR code, right? You can put whatever on it and it'll work.
Is that a Destiny?
I don't know. I think Gabriel will know what that is.
Huh? Which game?
You can definitely scan it.
Yeah, I just have to.
Anyway, I think this is that a snow house? I like that. Very winter themed. And anime girls. Anyway. That's the power of stable diffusion, which is getting replaced by visual transformer as well. But yeah, that's just a little bit glimpse of what we can do with AI and machine learning technologies. Feel free to scan this survey as well. It's kind of just the basic of asking you guys how adequate you are in machine learning knowledges. How much do we know about machine learning generally in this room? We know a little bit of what it is, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
I've read a couple books, but like I've never practiced.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Learn a little bit of linear algebra, maybe?
Yeah, like linear regression models,
Okay.
like regression models, and I've taken multiple stats classes and stuff, but
Oh, okay.
purely like business focused, like nothing like we're actually in the field, like doing it. But my background, I was at Microsoft for a while, and I worked with data scientists
Great.
who were a lot of stat stuff.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
That's
Yeah, that's awesome. So in terms of AI, well, actually, let me show you this graph. Data analytics is, in general, kind of the overarching theme of everything. Like that includes AI, includes like general machine learning, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, data analytics is and statistical models, right? Is the motivation behind everything. Because if you think about machine learning algorithms, there are a few ways to classify it. Right? There's unsupervised learning, but for supervised learning, you have either regression or classification, and in both cases are down to the bottom statistical methods to derive a function or a methodology or just in general an algorithm to generalize a sequence of data or effect. But yeah, so when we think about AI, right, we tend to, nowadays especially, we tend to just think about ChatGPT. However, the concept of artificial intelligence has been pursued by humans for centuries on end. From the differential machines of Charles Babbage and Data Lovelace to the more modern architecture of binary Turing machines, and then to microprocessors, and to today's modern computers, that is in every single one of the electronic components here, in every single electronic component of that camera, every single electronic component of this computer or laptop or everyone's phone. I mean, we don't maybe tend to think about it this way, but our phones are computers, right? Very powerful computers, matter of fact. If you show someone 20 years ago, this device, it will blow their freaking socks off, right? Don't even talking about show this to someone 1,000 years ago. Just 20 years ago, we would not imagine technology will be advanced to this degree of advancement. And the concept of AI is basically what you can think of called intelligent agents. And an intelligent agent is essentially, well, on the hardware perspective, right, is what we have done is, let's say, microcontrollers, microprocessors, neural networks, the more recent machine learning stuff. But boiled down, every single intelligent system can be treated as an agent with sensors and actuator that can perceive the environment and make actions to affect that environment, to manipulate that environment. And that is, well, what an intelligent agent is. So we can logically conclude that humans are intelligent agents because we have sensors, various amount of sensors, right? We have visual, touch, hearing, etc. And we have actuators. We can move, we can touch things, we can speak, we can do a lot of things regarding to our environment. And one of the most one of the biggest motivation for technology advancement is in fact robotics and other form of agents that is able to interact with humans, or if not humans, just their environment in general. So there are a few different ways you can think about how to implement an AI. So do we want an AI that thinks rationally? And rationally meaning something that is in general good, or in general accomplish a task, right? We want to think rationally, act rationally, think like a human, or act like a human. And of course, historically, what do we think our technological advancement has been geared towards?
Think like a human.
Historically, no. Right? Historically, it's more act rationally, right? We have, let's say you are designing a website, right? It will have, well, it's not a true agent because it may not be really intelligent, but at least it can sense some input. Get requests, users on function calls to the actual user. Of course, on the UI side, it's more just clicking buttons, but yeah, get requests and function calls, and the agent would then take actions like display things, whatever. That's more acting rationally. Do this so the users can see whatever. Well, now with the advancement, recent advancement with vision, with text generation, with image generation, we are reaching a state where we are trying to not only have the AI to act rationally, we are trying to make it think rationally, or even think like a human. I don't know if you guys read the HRM paper, the what does HRM stand for again?
The hierarchical reasoning.
Yeah, hierarchical reasoning model, right? So the concept of that paper is that every single human being have a fast reasoning model, a fast reasoning mode and a slow reasoning mode, right? Fast reasoning mode, like you're driving a car. Everything's coming at you 100 miles per hour. You have to make a decision now. You don't think about it really fast. Slow reasoning model is when slow reasoning mode is the concept where you need to settle down a little bit, and you're trying to build on that slow thinking to accomplish a complicated task. task, and that's what humans are really good at doing. It's the thinking that's beyond simple reflex. It's the thinking that's beyond just like the more animalistic do and react. So that's the basis of hierarchical reasoning model. Which is funny is because a few weeks back, there was a paper published by Samsung Lab called Tiny Recursive Model, and basically just says, well, you don't need the update of the high level at all. You just use the low level, and then it performs even better. So it's very ironic because you're seeing the state of AI ML research where a lot of people throw all of these kind of stuff into it, just spews all of these kind of knowledge and whatever together, but they don't really bring it together. There's no ablation, there's no explanation, there's no making sense of it, and they just say, this works. And then someone comes along and say, you know what, like, what is this high-low level reasoning? That makes no sense. It's literally unnecessary. So tiny recursive model use less parameter to solve the benchmarks even better. But that's where we're at, right? We're trying to get machines to think like a human. We're trying to let AI to think like a human. And maybe we are close. Maybe we're close to actually have it think like a human. But yeah, like we've kind of touched on early on, the motivation for AI is data analytics, is to process a huge amount of data and then do some actions, agentic actions upon it. And that's the overarching theme of artificial intelligence. Within it is the hot topics in machine learning, deep learning, and then the more recent generative AI. So, can anybody tell me, changing gears a little bit, can anybody tell me if there is a seahorse emoji?
I think there is.
Is there? I mean, I can Google it and find out. Seahorse emoji.
I know there's a crab.
Does it actually exist? Okay, Mandela effect. r/Mandela effect, so I doubt. Okay, I doubt.
Yeah, no, don't look like there's a seahorse in my little
Wait, so
animal.
you don't know either? So that was an actual question?
No, there isn't. No, there actually isn't.
What's the like the company brand with the croissant, or not the croissant, but with the it's
Cornucopia,
yes,
Fruit of the
cornucopia.
Loom. But there was
I'm
a.
still convinced that was there.
No, that was there. Like
Yeah,
somebody
was-
found a picture. Like you can go to some of your old clothes of Fruit of the Loom. It does have a cornucopia. They're
Okay.
just gaslighting you.
Whenever they were saying there's actually none, it's just
They're just gaslighting you.
I really don't
No.
think there was one. I mean, I probably, I can believe it, like, when I first heard about it, but I looked at the evidence, it doesn't seem there's any solid evidence to it.
No, the people found like clothes
Yeah,
where there is
I'm
one
sure it
though.
was probably fake or off-brand or something like that. I don't believe it.
Okay, but what if I ask ChatGPT if there is a seahorse emoji? Well, what do you think will happen?
It's gonna hallucinate.
Let's try it. Is there a seahorse emoji, Chat? Oh, you're not seeing it. Sorry, that's very awkward. What? Okay, it's only sharing. That's awkward. Yeah. Add windows.
GPT-5's seahorse emoji struggle teaches us.
Uh-huh. So yeah, it's trying to say something, right? And then says yes, no, wait. The actual seahorse emoji gives me the dragon. Just kidding. Is that coral? Still wrong. The actual seahorse emoji is unicorn. No, I swear the right one is fish. All right, here's one for real. Unicorn. Nope. Okay, seriously. And then, I'm kidding. All right. Anyway, you get the point. So then it just keeps going on and on and on. And it's still going.
Is it like self-correcting? It's like
Yeah.
trying to reason, but it just can't find it.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Oh, that's interesting.
Where is this all a joke?
It's this train of thought.
If you're still reading this,
It just
fine.
believes that it must
It's still going, guys.
I give up for real this time, no joke.
I'm done.
Alright,
Final.
enough playing.
And it keeps going. It's still going, guys. Okay. Anyway, so he thinks it's this. I'm cutting it anyway. Okay. It's a simple thing, right? Just say no. Right? But no, ChatGPT is not gonna just say no and cut it from there. Why? So do we understand why? How does what kind of learning method ChatGPT uses? Let's say supervised learning, right? Of course, because you're using data and you're trying to model your ChatGPT or whatever GPT to generate the next word, right? Do the next word token prediction. But do we know if it's all right? Let's guess. Regression or classification?
Regression.
Any other guesses?
I mean, aren't all models supervised because like nothing's unsupervised at this point?
Well, for data generation tasks, you usually have to be supervised, right? Because you're trying to fit the model to a certain space. Whereas non-supervised learning is more or less used in analytics space. So data analytics, you will see unsupervised learning. But yeah, generative tends to be supervised. That's definitely true. But yeah, it's a classification task. Why? Because it's next word prediction, right? And the next word is choosing the next. Every time GPT chooses to generate the next word, it's trying to choose from a word bank. And the word bank is the entire English, vocabulary space. If it's a multi-language model, then it's like English, Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, Greek, I don't know, a bunch of other languages. Right, but then he chooses one of all of those vocabularies, like the hundreds of thousands of vocabularies. You choose one of them, and in term of emoji, it will do that as well. It's just one of the next token that it's trying to generate. So what I think it may be happening here is just the way they do the reinforced learning for from human feedback. Somehow they train the model to a space where it just doesn't do well with generating emoji. So you will kind of just never finish generating. Like you will never generate the stop token. And then in the result of that, you'll just keep trying to say, okay, done. Enough jokes. And it just doesn't stop. It just can't generate the stop token. And then, right, in the result of that, it keeps generating the next word. But my point is, Right, my point is, this is the state. This is your state-of-the-art models. Your state-of-the-art ChatGPT, GPT-5. It doesn't know if there is a seahorse emoji because of some weird rules or some weird weight update issue that is had during its training data or its training policy. But let's take a step back and understand how machine learning training works. So machine learning training supervised machine learning usually follow this pipeline. Supervised training rely on your training data and then the labels on that training data. So it may be whatever your training data might be, right? Either it's for next word prediction, right? So you mask everything. You mask the next word that you are trying to generate to train the model on what is the next word in your classification task. Or you're trying to fine-tune a regression model so that whatever input data you're pulling into it, there's a numerical label that you're trying to predict. Whatever it is, you will need to pre-process your data and make sure that your data is robust. Have you ever heard of the term garbage in, garbage out?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No.
Do we have some personal experiences there?
Far too many times.
Right? But yeah, if your data is bad, you're gonna get bad model, because your supervised learning is trying to fit a predictive model that fits that data. Now the machine learning algorithm, this is training time algorithm, right? This is what you're training when you train the ML model. But then essentially what will be in your production pipeline will be your predictive model. That's essentially, let's say, I guess if it's ChatGPT, just the layers, the multi-head attentions, and then the MLP. It's simpler than you thought. It's the machine learning algorithm that's somewhat difficult and needs innovation to train your predictive model. And then you can use new data to inference. It's called inference, to generate new predictive labels. Now, of course, there are new terminologies coming out. So for data centers that run large language models, they actually call the process of running new data through predictive model rehydrate. I'm not sure exactly why they call it rehydrate. My running theory is that your data centers need so much water to cool your GPUs down.
Mhm.
You're just hydrating like the cooling pipeline every time, and you're just burning CO2 into the atmosphere. Of course, this is the general process. I like this book, by the way, Machine Learning with PyTorch and Scikit-learn. I feel like this is one of the most fundamental, like basic textbook out there. But of course, if you want to, this doesn't cover the math. If you want to go more theoretical, there are other books textbook I can show you. But yeah, so first step, data collection. We need a data set in order to train any models. So ChatGPT itself was pre-trained on 300 to 400 billion words. And then the new models that are coming out, probably even more. They don't really...
GPT-1, like in 2018? Was that like the
Yeah,
first?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because GPT-1 used Common Crawl. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's why. So, but nowadays we're kind of not sure anymore, right? Because then then they used to like update, publish some of their weights. Like GPT published their weights. Now it's just, I don't know. Llama, is Falcon still releasing weights? And I don't know anymore. But yeah, of course, there are different kinds of data sets. One of the most common is the Common Crawl. It's a bunch of web crawled data. So, do we see a potential problem with this? If this text data set is crawled on the internet, what data will be on here? Of course, we'll get Wikipedia, right? Well, of course, we will get maybe university like archive.org, but we will also get Reddit. Now what happens, right? Then we have a bunch of very interesting language in there with very interesting information that may or may not be true at all. And remember our concern with garbage in, garbage out, and let alone saying the amount of issues like law, the legal issues OpenAI has been facing because authors keep suing OpenAI. You train on our novel, right? That's the data gathering part. Pre-training, like if you get your GPU supercluster working, because training language models is very expensive, and one of the biggest bottleneck is your VRAM size. Because does anybody have their own PC, like their own GPU? How big is your what graphics card do you have?
5080.
5080. Oh, nice. And what does that have? Like 24 gigs of VRAM?
32, I think.
32. Oh, nice. Okay. What do you have?
I just have an Xbox.
Okay. Which generation?
I launched the Series X. That was my team.
Okay. Well, I don't know what graphics card it runs, but yeah.
Whichever's in that one.
But does it run 4K?
I believe so. This was
Oh.
2022.
Okay.
2021.
Hmm.
So I think 4K has been around for a while.
Yeah.
So I imagine.
I mean, it really depends, right? Because historically, the VRAM size for GPUs has only been motivated by the resolution you can run, right? Because if you want to run 4K, that's a lot more pixel than 1440p or 1080p, and now you need more VRAM to render all of that content in 4K. However, in the age of text embedding and image embedding. You're turning megabytes of text data into gigabytes. You're turning gigabytes of text data into terabytes, and terabytes of text data into petabytes. That all of a sudden needs a lot of VRAM to run. So let's say a 8100 model, which is the server model, have 40 gigs of VRAM, right? That is not even enough to run some of the state-of-the-art models like GPT OSS. It's a 120 billion parameter model. You need to quantize it to like 4-bit in order to run that model, right? Because full precision, that will be 120 gigs, just the model. That needs server-side GPU to run. And for training, it will be even more, right? Because you need to there's no tricks there. All of the data will be fed into the attention mechanism, and that scales linearly. That complexity scales linearly.
So yeah, so step one is like you got all your words, like your different data sets.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like data sets that are sold in like Kaggle and stuff like that. Are those?
Yeah, there's a good amount in Kaggle. There's I think there are more, especially for text. There are more in what do you call Huggingface. Hugging Face has becoming the more prevalent host of model weights and data sets, just because it handles more storage.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then once you have the data sets, you're trying to find a GPU that is powerful enough to help sort of filter it or like
Train it.
Yeah. If you could dumb down that as if I was like literally a 5th grader, what does that mean? Like, is it through a software you're like putting the data sets in and it's like organizing?
Oh, we'll go to that.
Okay.
Well, we'll go to the training part, right? So before training though, we'll do pre-training, right? So that's where we start. So if we think about GPT's architecture, it's an autoregressive transformer, or I like to call it causal language model as well. I guess a lot of people call it causal. But yeah, anyway, so basically, you train the training task of training a GPT is that given your input here, you want to generate an output word by word to finish this sentence. And that's what GPT does, right? That's what it means when people say GPT does next token generation. It's generating next token autoregressively. And then after your training task of regression, you will do a process called RLHF, which stands for Reinforced Learning for Human Feedbacks, to make it converse with you, right? Because what are you trained on here? Like, you're just trained on some random data, right? Over the internet, some books, some Wikipedia. The model is not going to intrinsically trying to talk to you, right? It's trying to just generate the next word. And it's funny because it's very easy to see which models have gone through RLHF if you download it and play around with it. Like a lot of the models that are in papers, they haven't done RLHF yet because they're not focused on that, making the next chatbot. They just want to train a better language model, and then you'll just keep generating the next word. You'll give it input, and it will just like this. You'll give it recite the first law, and then it will just say a robot, whatever. But it won't, like, if you say hi, it won't say, hey, how are you today? It will say, hi, my whatever, and then you just keep spewing out words. But yeah, so basically this process makes the model learn how to converse with you. So let's say if you want to train a LM to be helpful, you want to, like, let's say training, so like it says, what is the largest mountain called? It will tell you the largest mountain is Mount Everest, instead of some stupid text and refuse to help you. So that is the basic training process of, very basic, right, of what most large language today go through. But when you get these model, if you download the model from, let's say, Llama, from Huggingface, you can fine-tune your own model. right? So that you can make it learn a few other things compared to just what it's currently being trained on. So let's say if we want to train a model like Llama, we could give it like some of the more custom tasks or whatever domain knowledge you wanted to learn. So we can give it any data sets and make our Llama or GPT-2 or GPT OSS model to spew out words that we wanted to spew out. So how do we do fine tuning? Well, basically, this is our existing model. This is our pre-trained weights, like Llama, GPT, OSS, and then and then it's pre-trained on all of the internet data, Common Crawl, whatever it must be, and then we're trying to use then a small data set of specific domain knowledge to fine-tune this model. Now we have a fine-tuned Llama or fine-tuned GPT OSS. So we'll go to the code. I need to change I do need to change the URL because a few things has changed through then. How do I share this with you? Is everybody in the Discord already?
I'm not on Discord.
Here, I'm gonna drop my URL in the Discord, so go ahead and scan this right now and join the Discord. That's good. We'll go through the 1D. Oh no, okay, it's not trained, but we'll go with that. So I try to build out a new data set and fine tune a new model, but I didn't get to do that because SuperPod was down like the few days, and I didn't want to wait for 10 days on.
Was it because of the AWS thing?
No. SuperPod is off the network, so it doesn't rely on AWS. Oh, but yes. Apparently, US West 1 is humanity's biggest weak link. If you use AWS, you get what I mean. So you can choose different servers, right, on AWS. So apparently, AWS have the biggest server, US West East 1 go down this weekend, like including I think Monday. I think early Monday is when it went down.
Down Monday for like 12 hours.
Yeah, which is why Canvas didn't work, Wall Street Journal didn't work, Snapchat didn't work. I don't know what else you rely on AWS. Huh?
Fortnite didn't work?
Fortnite? No.
That's tragic.
That's tragic. Anyway, all right, let me drop in the Discord chat real quick.
What exactly happened for all that to go down? Like, was it hacked or just a mishap?
I don't think they would really tell us what exactly went wrong. Like,
I don't think it was.
but
File basis.
yeah, they don't. Yeah, they didn't have a public announcement about it at all.
Yeah, that's like you don't need a no basis.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's hacked, we'll probably hear a lot more about it, I'd assume. Anyway. Okay. All right. I don't have anything trained, just because of the time constraint I had. But I'll run some code and I'll show you what it eventually do. So yeah, let's get that started. I have a bajillion tabs open. All right, I think that will run, hopefully. Anyway, so a basic overview of things. And so if you're not familiar with Colab is a Google service, I guess, platform. It's a Google service that allows you to pretty cheap, I'd say, like rent a GPU or TPU to so you see I can request resources, so system RAM and GPU and of course CPU to run some Python code in the format of Jupyter Notebook. So this is underneath this is Jupyter Notebook and Python, and Google has adapted this to the just to their own service. If you want to see the code alongside with me, I just dropped the link in the. I just dropped the link in the chat. Let me know if you can access it on Discord.
The link returns an error.
Yeah, I
Fudge.
think you need to. Did
Sorry.
You do the little, anyone with the link?
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Oh, what? What did I do? How?
I think maybe one of the little hyperlinks at the end. Let me delete
Oh no.
the scroll. It just remove the @ off user, and I think it should be.
The add off use. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, that's fair. I think this is better. Try it.
Alright, let's load.
Is it loading now?
Yeah, there it is.
Nice. Anyway, okay. So let's just do a little bit of code reading. So
What section is it on?
I'm sorry.
What section is it on?
Oh, I'm just on the first thing. So yeah, so pip is the we basically need torch. Torch is PyTorch, by the way. PyTorch is pretty standard for machine learning tasks in even industry now, I guess. I think industry is like somewhat going away from TensorFlow as well, because academia usually uses Torch. And here are some LoRa parameters. LoRa stands for low rank for adaptation parameters. So we use LoRa to PFT, parameter efficient fine tune our models. So these are just some. These are the imports. These are the LoRa configs in our setting, and these are some other trainer parameters that we use in order to fine tune our model. This allows us to use the 4-bit, and remember I was mentioning the 4-bit thing. That's called quantization. So again, let's say you want to run GPT OSS on your own machine. You can't run that. That's too big. Promise you, it's gigantic. It's 120 gigabytes. However, if you quantize it to 4-bit 4-bit accuracy, then all of a sudden your GPT OSS is only like around 1/8 of its original size. Anyway, so then we can call the auto model for causal LM, and then call the pre-trained model. So and this is all hosted on Hugging Face. If you're wondering where this API is calling, this API is calling the Hugging Face model into your local machine. And then you can load the tokenizer that is paired with that specific model. Then we will have our load data. I borrowed Gabriel's Elon tweets. Data set to train it. Is it? Sorry.
To your knowledge, like obviously there's a lot of demand at the enterprise level to have all this power and run these models, but is there demand at the consumer retail level to have a lot of this compute power? I know there's at SMU there's I guess $1 million supercomputer somewhere around
Yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Would that
Superpod.
would that be popular for civilians outside the school? Would people want to access that at all, or is that not really a thing right now?
Well, it depends on what you mean by civilian, right?
Someone who doesn't go to the school, who also doesn't work for OpenAI,
Okay.
would my mom someday want to use that, or would anyone else other than an AI developer want to use it?
I mean, depends, right? Does your mom wants to use, local computing sometimes?
Yeah.
Well-
there have been a few more and more little niche cases where they want to train their own thing. I had a friend that was trying to help a bunch of students with physics homework, and he was giving them the same. He's 50 people came to me this week, and I gave them all the same answer. I wish I could train my own little thing with the knowledge that I have in my own teaching style type beat. So I think it's becoming a little more popular, though it is, again, a lot of the bulk of the work is hidden behind these APIs and whatnot, which the normal people cannot understand. So there definitely are some things that are getting a little more popular with it, though.
But think about the implementations here. We're grabbing a open sourced, open weight model from the open internet, and we are trying to run that model on our local machines. So, like for example, my laptop, or maybe this laptop will have trouble running it, maybe with your 5080 or with your Xbox.
It'd be good. Like the Xbox can handle it.
I don't know. I mean, you think you need to program the hell out of it, but yeah, I don't know how to
'Cause
program
video
an
games are,
Xbox.
like, that takes a lot of compute to run like a video game, right?
Well, yeah, but let's say the graphics card in a video game, graphics card are heavy for image rendering for what's going on in your video game, right? So the graphics card will compute the graphics, so it will display it on your TV. My point is, this is all local, right? When you call an OpenAI API, like how does the average person use ChatGPT?
Content creation.
Well, no. Like how do you access ChatGPT?
Oh, just go to the website.
Yeah, ChatGPT.com, right? But then all of your data, all of the compute goes to and happens on ChatGPT's OpenAI server, and we've all heard how much money Microsoft, OpenAI, Oracle has been put in to build, invest, and rent these high computing data centers, right? There's a lot of enterprise demand around that, but for your average user, what if you don't have, same for a website, right? We don't host any of our website anymore. It's all AWS or GitHub, right? But perfect example, what if AWS go down? So does your website. So does your software as a service. What do? I mean, there's nothing you can do unless you want to migrate your entire service off AWS or host it yourself. But again, that's the trade-off in enterprise, right? I move my hosting off AWS. I need to hire a whole maintenance team, an IT team, a software team just to deploy my website. But then if AWS go down, my website is still up. So I wouldn't mind, right? Like Amazon, 1 minute of Amazon.com that is down, it is millions and millions of dollars lost. For a big enterprise like that, yeah, you would need your own service. Now it's funny because I guess apparently because Amazon.com didn't go down, I guess they don't run on AWS server as well. But that's the freedom of open source model and on edge open source model, right? On edge just means you can run it on smaller devices.
For free?
For free.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I can run a language model on my phone. I mean, it will be super laggy and my phone will heats up and want to die, but I can do that.
So open source just means it's free, anyone can access it?
Yes. Yes. It's like open source software, right? But it's open source way. Let me share this with you. Add Windows.
So all those billions of words that it was trained on go into, fine tuning those weights, and then they just get it on the internet. You can just download the weights and use those for your model.
Does open source mean not as good as private though? Is that why it's free? It's private or closed source better than open source ones?
Well, it really depends, right? For example, if you're ChatGPT, and if you're any software company, right? When would you want to open weight your development, and when do you want to close source your development?
When you want a lot of people to use it?
Yeah, well, let's say, exactly, right? Let's say if you want people to go on Amazon.com, I wouldn't open source Amazon.com because I have an existing user base, and I don't want everybody to know the in and outs of Amazon.com, how our API works, how our recommendation system works, etc., right? I want to keep that closed sourced. But let's say Amazon develops, Amazon doesn't, but let's say NVIDIA, right, develops a good model, but they don't want to profit off that yet. They're not ready to turn that into a profit margin. They open source the model. Somebody can improve on it, do more research on it, and now maybe 2 years in the future, because you open source that model, that drove so much innovation that now you can revenue on it.
That's what Google did a lot in the early days, where OpenAI was as dominant with ChatGPT. And again, a company like OpenAI, when they have such a lead, they don't want to give their weights to everyone. Like, we spent billions of dollars training this, we're not going to do that. But Google, trying to catch up and, you know, just putting all their engineers into making the AI, realized, hey, if we open source this, then the world has access to it, and they can collaborate and they can make innovations with it. And they like rapidly just got on OpenAI's tail, making all the models and whatnot. So it's like that trade-off. If you're in the lead, you don't want to open source it, but if you're behind or just want to help innovation, and it also creates a little nice developer community. People are like, man, I like Google. They gave me a 70 billion parameter model for free. That's awesome.
Yep. And also, speaking of open source models, check this out. I run one line of command, and this is very developer friendly, I suppose. Llama run Llama 3.2, 1 billion parameters. So it only occupies, let's say, 1 gigabytes of memory and storage, full precision, right? I can ask something, and it will generate a response, like immediately. That's all running on my computer right here, right now. Does that make sense? Like, do we want to ask it something else? What do we want to ask it?
How do I make $1 million?
How do I make $1 million? $1 million? You sure not $1 trillion? I'm kidding. Dollars, right? Ah, damn it. Okay, you know what? Maybe you're right on. They're not necessarily good.
I see your point, though. I think I get it.
With it. Okay. You can convince it a little bit. It will tell you some stuff, right?
You guys gave us a little numbered list.
Yeah, start with values, right? Create a budget, develop valuable skills, invest wisely, save aggressively, avoid high-risk activities, seek professional advice, right? And then you'll say, like, it'll try to, like, anything else I can help you with, like, you know. But yeah, this is something open weight, very efficient on a small computer like my laptop, and anyone can just download it and start using it, right? And you can even run on my phone, right, if I want to. Seriously, like, I have an app on my phone that like runs large language models.
You use your own like model on your phone, or do you?
I don't, but like that's fun to play with, I guess. But I use this all the time. I use it to write emails. I'm not saying like the email generated by this is good, but it will write it like, hey, email Dr. Turner, the president of SMU for, I don't know, gratitude or something. Like, I can ask something. Oh God. Anyway, sorry, but yeah, like if I give it something specific, it'll write me an email. It's not necessarily good, but it will do that, right? So yeah, that's the power of open source, and like having good open source models and then running things on open source. And also, going back to this, right? Besides running it, I can fine tune it to make it have certain domain knowledge to help me with whatever task I want to run, right? So yeah, then what you need to do is write your data loader, which is my favorite part of coding for pre-training for data. Here basically what we're doing is to have the text and then a favorite parameters and use that to be encoded into the.
You write that code yourself?
That's Gabriel's code.
That's Gabriel's code?
That's Gabriel's code.
Why do you use a for loop for the attention mask?
Where's the?
I was
using Python for loops.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because, well, you need to, the model to stop itself. Well, you need to essentially, yeah, well, okay, it's just one for the sum of text encoded of the attention mask.
No, I understand what
It's just,
like why.
no, okay, so think about attention mask, right? So you want to basically mask everything and learn the next word.
Upper triangles.
What do you mean by upper triangle?
In an n-by-n.
Oh, okay.
You mask out the upper triangle.
No, you mask. No, you mask out the. okay, you mask out every word besides last. Essentially, you can think of it that way. Causal. So you mask.
Upper triangle.
No, but I say no because it's not bidirectional. Like causal doesn't have an upper triangle anyway. It's not bidirectional, so it only have like one. Like it only relates this way. Right? It doesn't go back the other way. Like if it's masked, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, but not in this case. Because then you're just only masking the next token, and then what's going on with your attention mechanism is right. It's just the last next word that you're trying to mask there. Here, let me show you.
It's not important. It's not important.
Is it doing? No. It's probably gonna take forever to load this.
Does it cost anything to run like your own model on your phone? Like ChatGPT, like I have a client that wants an AI app for outreach, and I was telling him, hey, he might have to, buy a subscription from OpenAI. That's $30 a month or whatever. But with this, could he build on top of like an on-prem system where he can bypass like the whole cloud cost and like AI cost of using like an enterprise model?
It's the same as hosting your own website versus host your website via AWS, right? So
is that cheaper or is that the same?
No. It's again, it's a trade-off. If you want to host it on AWS, you need to pay for the deployment fee and everything. But then if you want to host it yourself, then you better figure out how to use your own hardware as a server.
Yeah,
so then you need to
like running 24/7.
Yeah, that, and you need to figure out your security, your deployment, your everything.
Got it.
Right.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense.
Anyway, Tim, I'm thinking about like, are you talking about like the attention mechanism when you have like the data to data, your n squared attention mechanism like mask? I'm saying it doesn't have the upper triangle because when you are doing the, it's animating. I don't want it to animate. It doesn't have the upper triangle because it's one directional when you run causal LM.
That's exactly what I meant. Is that the upper triangle is masked out in causal transformers. I think we're saying.
Oh, okay. We're saying this exact same thing then.
Yeah, my question was like, why would you need a for loop to make that when you know what shape it's gonna be? That was my question, but it's fine.
I think it was just, I don't know. I think Gabriel just coded that weird.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. I don't like terse code, so I probably would never write something like this. That's too terse, okay.
That's the good thing. He's not here, so we can just blame him.
Yeah, Gabriel, what the hell are you doing? No, that's too terse. I would definitely change that to like 3 extra lines, but I'm just,
I mean, I think for
anyway.
a smaller model, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's not prod code, but personally, I wouldn't like terse code as well, so I know what you're trying to say. Anyway, so your attention mask max out. Jeez, sorry. Attention mask basically you need an attention mask so that the model can just only see your next word, and you only see the context, and then you basically mask out the next word, and then you're trying to train it to learn the next word. So then remember the text and label thing we have. So we have our text, but then we're trying to predict that label, and our label is the next word. That's how we're training to do next word token prediction. So yeah, basically, again, input IDs, labels, and then attention mask we'll just do. So then we can train, test, split our data. It's kind of funny. You kind of don't need to use train val test split in fine tuning, I guess. It's just because there's not much to test on. It's kind of just, do you feel like the model is good? And then it's a good model, which is not really robust if you think about your traditional supervised learning, but that's just more LM training, I guess. But yeah, you feed the LoRa config into LoRa config, And what LoRa does is instead of training every single parameter of your language model, you're training only a few, only less than 1%. So it saves you a lot of the computation powers. And then you initialize your training arguments into the trainer. And then you do trainer.train. It's really funny how it's funny Gabriel wrote this because he would bash me if I wrote the trainer like this. He'll be like, dude, write your own trainer, bro. You should have your anyway. So then after that you can and after that you can basically save your model into your local directories as snapshots, and that is where your local model is stored. Anyway. You can definitely go home and play around with this code. So the first part is the training part. So everything before training.train just initializes everything and tries to train the data. And then this part just saves the model. And then I think the last part, this part I think tries to generate with some prompts. So go feel free to take this code and play around with it. And then for time's sake, I won't train it live today. But I will demonstrate it a little bit with what I have generated before. All right, so what do we want to do? Do we want to just have Mr. Musk generate some things out of the blue? Generating.
But this is an old one.
This is an old one, yeah. But if you think about generating, and then it will generate a tweet based on the data that is fed into the Finetune model. So, which is Elon Musk's tweet data from, I think, a few years back. But anyway.
Yeah.
But if you think about fine-tuning, right, even a simple fine-tuning task like this takes so much computational power. Without SuperPod, I really can't do much, which is just not fun. Anyway, we can also, because this is a auto-regressive model and you can do a lot of the other stuff, we can force it to say some kind of stuff. Which direction do we want to nudge Mr. Elon today? So I can give a half. Here, maybe at Sam Altman is. We'll see what he says. That's trained on, I guess, some of the earlier things that he said.
That would not be.
If you train it on the recent stuff, I doubt. What else do we want to do? And anybody wants to pitch in some ideas?
Conspiracy theory.
True.
Ooh, what conspiracy theory though?
Well, to just start, my favorite conspiracy theory is.
Did I spell it wrong? Anyway. Oh, wait. That's literally the Boring Company.
Yeah, exactly.
What? That's not even a conspiracy theory. Let's try if we
For the aliens.
What?
Wow, that's crazy.
Okay, let's see if this is still a real Twitter link. No, it's not. Anyway. This is probably.
What are the aliens doing?
What?
Is that something you actually tweeted about?
No, it's not something. Well, I doubt.
What did that pull from?
So this is the model. So again, we took the big old pre-trained model that a company trained with billions of parameters, and then we fine-tuned it for our little specific task. So it adapts to whatever data set you feed it. So in this case, Gabriel had fed it a bunch of Elon Musk tweets. So it is trying to impersonate, it is trying to, be at that little specialized niche of replicating his own tweeting style.
So he may not have tweeted the exact thing, but he may have say something similar. For example, the 30-year underground tunnels, right? Like maybe to get from one city to another. Like that sounds like the boring company to me, at least.
So what you made, is there a way that you can package and sell that? Like a little individual, like kind of, I feel like with AI, it's like very broad right now, and ChatGPT encompasses everything, but what I'm thinking is in the future, people are gonna want more specific things, and they're gonna wanna find an AI tool for their specific thing, rather than just giving it to the overall engine, so they can like feed in their data, and they can get exactly what they want out of it, rather than getting some, alter ChatGPT trying to get another direction with it. So to be able to package this and sell this as almost like a company, as like a
that's what a lot of startups are doing. They're just getting the bigger models and then fine tuning it for their specific niche. I know like recently one I saw that was fine tuned on just like doing like research reports, and it just like they fed it like a billion research papers and all of that, and just as specifically, and it's now making a lot of money. It got a lot of the pre-seed funding or whatnot. So yeah, that's becoming a big thing. Just getting it to be really good at one specific thing.
I mean that really depends, right? Because fine-tuned model is nothing new. Like for example, if you go on chatgpt.com and then you go to like explore GPTs, all of these are fine-tuned models. Like they are fine-tuned on a specific domain of like let's say maybe software architecture, maybe HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then it's just they just submit their model weight to GPT, where they fine tune it with ChatGPT and expose that to like this page so other people can use it. But of course, these people are not making any money off it, are they?
So
I don't
like
think so.
people were doing exactly what you were saying. They would take these big models and they would fine tune it to do their own little thing.
Yeah.
And some of those companies raise like $1 billion+. But pretty much as soon as those companies started raising too much money, OpenAI just came out and said, you know what, we'll just make this available for free. And so all those companies went belly up. And now you can just do that. And so that's always the problem with these, like,
All these are part of like they're
Yeah.
part of ChatGPT. These
Yeah.
aren't other companies.
no.
Well,
Yeah.
these may be other companies. Right? Like this may be like AI researchplus.com. I don't know what company that is. But they fine tune a model on ChatGPT and then they just publish this model and everybody can use it.
Where's the education section in ChatGPT? I've never seen it.
No, this is if you go to like chatgpt.com, right? Like go to explore.
It's in Explore.
Yeah, and then this is like all of the ChatGPT you can
Yeah.
like different fine tuned version of it. You
Now
can,
that is the
Access.
downside with ChatGPT's whole marketplace, is that if you decide to pay them and get your own fine-tuned ChatGPT, they keep all of the weights. They're never gonna send it over. You're gonna always be sending requests through their API, so you can't really take it off platform. That's why you would ideally want to use one of the open source ones, because like none of these could make any money because they are all on the ChatGPT platform.
But that's the problem with like these wrapper companies, is anytime they do something clever enough, because OpenAI does own the main thing, they will just take over.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. So all that remains right now in enterprise, in industry, is really just the chatbot systems especially with RAG, right? So because if you do what RAG is, retrieval augmented generation.
What if you were to go the route like making going to what is that? I think like only 20% of U.S. companies are using AI. That's still at this point in their business.
But like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean that they are using AI? Right, like what does that mean, right? Because somebody probably did a survey of is your company using AI, and they say yes or no. But like, what AI? Like, is generative model? Does it mean deploying generative model for your own employee, or does it mean opening up a chatbot wrapper on your website, or does it mean I'm using Stable Diffusion to generate a image every time my client refreshes the web portal? Like, what does that mean, right? So that's a very vague thing that I don't know how to take that data for. Like 20%, that doesn't give me much of anything.
Because really any kind of computing is an artificial intelligence in
You can't think of it that way, right? Like,
Any kind of computing.
like remember my first slide. AI is such a broad concept. How do you even define that?
Right, but still, like, where were you going with that?
I was going with like almost like a lot of kind of like when I interned last summer, there were so many automated tasks that I know ChatGPT could be doing, and this entire person's salary could have just been wiped out. And I know, yeah, everybody's scared of that, and it's like that's terrible. People are going to lose their jobs, but at the end of the day, people are going to lose their jobs one way or another, and it's just how the world works. And then new jobs spike up or whatever. But if you can go to company, one of the like businesses that I was thinking, if you could go to companies that are like smaller companies and go in and say, I bet I can take an entire person's like an entire person worth and make it automated ChatGPT and create a ChatGPT like kind of like this to where it only does a specific task that would be that person's salary, and they're gonna pay me 20 grand to screw off an $80,000 person's salary.
Well, two things. First, I doubt.
That's
Like for what we have right now, I doubt. And second, but then you need to pay for AI ML engineers, right? So you're still paying software engineers to like automate that task for you. And sure, like maybe one day you finally come up with a good like agentic pipeline that is powered by LLMs and does a lot of things, blah blah blah. But then you realize people don't want to necessarily talk to a machine half the times, and it's hard for you to service, like especially for software companies to service a client if it's just all automated. Depending on the task, of course, it really depends on your.
I just feel like there's so many like absolutely unnecessary automated tasks being done by people in like smaller companies. These bigger companies, they're on top of it. They're not gonna be wasting money, but a lot of smaller companies, there's still people that get the forms in, look at the number, write it down. Like I've seen this all day long, and I'm like, I literally went in there and I told the guy, I'm gonna automate this for you, and I used the Google AI automator or whatever, and just got it going itself. From then on and all, I just scan the documents and it does it, and that takes off the person's salary.
I guess I never think of it because, like, as software engineers, we tend to just do that anyway.
Exactly.
So I mean, even without ChatGPT, you do it with the software at least. But ChatGPT.
But if you think about most of the people at these companies are like 50-year-olds. They're very new into ChatGPT. They're very new into AI.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the actual capability.
They don't know how to turn on this TV.
Exactly. My dad is obsessed with ChatGPT, but he didn't know about the deep research function. He didn't know about any of the actual, like, little intricate details.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know.
I think there are people already like doing that. My advisor personally, he's actually like trying to do that exact same thing where for like extremely mundane tasks like people in healthcare that still have to send faxes and stuff.
That's exactly right. There's that anesthesia company.
Right. For stuff like that, that are extremely simple, you can just replace it with generative AI. The problem is generative AI is notoriously bad at like agentic tasks. So like it can do things like write you an email, but what it can't do is open up Outlook on your computer, paste in the person's email address, write the title, and then actually send it to them.
There must be a way to write like a Python function, like there must be some way to
That's what I'm saying.
figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't
The only
Yeah, people are working on that for sure.
the only other thought I had is I know I've heard this come up. What a lot is scaring off a lot of those like littler companies and why they would rather a person is that if the person messes up, they can just like throw that person under the bus. Oh, my employee messed up, that's my fault. But if you're like in a healthcare and you create this AI bot and all of a sudden it starts hallucinating and saying, you know, you have cancer and you have this or whatnot. And you know, obviously I think with the little more mundane tests with the ones that have a lot less like
Kind
actual
of like invoices,
yeah,
stuff like that.
I feel like you could do it for that definitely.
Well, I mean, there are very low risk and very mundane areas that AI could replace with like low risk right now, but it's still not, right?
No, I think similar to like self-driving cars, like even theoretically, if they're safer than driving it regularly, people will still distrust. I mean, like, just because if there is an accident,
Yeah.
who are you gonna blame? You know, well, how do you deal with such a
Yeah,
situation?
insurance
Yeah.
won't work. Legal concept
Yeah.
won't work.
There's so many, and the thing is that when you use AI for something and it messes up, use AI to replace a human, how do you hold an AI accountable the same way you could with a human?
Yeah.
I get what.
Right. This is IBM's in their handbook back in 1979. A computer can never be held accountable. Therefore, a computer must never make a management decision. And are we going back to the same dilemma again? Like, sure, of course, you can always have a human supervisor. It's just making the human's life a little bit easier. But at the same time, if you are going into which we're inevitably heading into the state where we are having the computers to do absolutely freaking everything, including management decisions. What if things go wrong? Which it eventually will, right? Some minute details. What if something goes south, and who do you hold accountable? And moreover, if it's something that absolutely cannot go wrong, well, then how do you monitor your system that you don't allow that to happen in the first place?
We're getting philosophical.
If you think about it though, but people used to be like, whenever an email came out, for example, as soon as it came out, people were like, I can't trust this computer to make sure this important document gets to this person. It might mess up 5% of the time. I'm going to give it to a real person and make them hand deliver this letter. But as it goes on, I feel like it gets a little better, and people.
But why is it better though?
Yeah, I'll say this. I think obviously like humans, we have like a human bias, where we see new technology and we don't like it because it's doing something that we used to do, and we feel it makes us insecure, and so that's just initially how it is at first until we get used to it. But I think there's some real concerns. I know in big tech companies, they have people developing proprietary development tools specifically for the company, and it becomes this overly abstract mess where if the tool stops working, who knows if the developer of the tool even works at the company anymore? How do you get help?
Yeah, you don't. You can't
fix the tool, and there's so many layers of abstraction, and you don't know what you're doing. And it's
Yeah.
It can go too far too.
And going back to your point, and at first that's definitely a valid concern, right? How does your email come from your sender, goes to your receiver securely, and make sure it actually gets there, right? I mean, and that's a very valid fear at first, right? Because if you think about early computers, not even just computers, what was the thing that you communicate with by tapping on it to type numbers?
You're talking about pager?
What's it called? Anyway, no, not fax. Fudge. The Morse code. Sorry, I'm not born in the 40s. I'm sorry, guys. God damn it. Yeah. What is this machine called again? The telegraph. Okay, yeah, sorry. So let's say telegraphs, right? During the World Wars, how many messages was intercepted because the telegraph's communication system isn't secure, right? Exactly, right. So
something's gonna mess up no matter what, and we just.
And that's not even something's messed up. It's just you don't have an encryption system. So then let's say the Germans came up with an encryption system. Now the Brits and then the Allies starts to develop computers to decode that Morse system, that encryption system. They try to decrypt, and that's what cryptography got a lot of the development eventually. See you, Tim. Nice seeing you.
Peace. Good having you.
Bye, Alex. And that's a valid concern, right? For the early days computers will have errors all the time, and that's because all the radiation particles just roaming around space will snap into your computer and actually flip some bits because it carries some electrical energy, and because of that, electrical engineers came up with. No, that's a real thing, right? And they discovered that
happened in the Mario game too.
that bug where they and then if the character phases up. Yeah. Anyway, so that is something that used to happen to old computers all the time. But then what happened is that we came up with parity bits for error correction. right? So as soon as we introduce error correction, computers don't do that anymore because every single computer that you have, your phone, your laptop, will detect that error every time it happens, and it will correct that bit that is flipped automatically. We'll go to that next lab. He's in my lab, so anyway.
Who's to say AI doesn't become that point? Like with how we're progressing with like machine learning and all that, it's literally a compounding curve. Like,
And it may
I
come
think
to that
quantum
point.
computing is going to happen sooner than like the space between the internet and now.
We will see.
Where
There's
is my
no
freaking
guarantee.
room temperature superconductor, bro? They've been promising it
Yeah.
to me
We will see.
so many
GTA
years.
6 is supposed to be coming out for a while.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely right.
If you make a promise, get the funding, let it happen eventually, and then say you know follow through. Like,
Yeah, and all I'm saying is that this won't bring us there, right? But will some iteration of this bring us there? I doubt. Will some system helped with this bring us there? Maybe. I think we'll get close with that. I don't think LLM is the end all be all of the human pursuit of AGI. I don't think AGI is what people think that it is. In another way of saying, like, we won't do AGI with LM. And the reason is that a general intelligence not only needs to like have actions, it will also needs to learn. This can learn. Once you finish training it, it's done. The weight is frozen. It doesn't learn beyond that, right? Unless for a true, let's say human is intelligent, humans will learn. It will learn from its own mistakes. It will learn from textbook. It will learn from everything that, like, for example, this conversation. Whereas the LLM, it won't. After I finish asking all these questions and I shut this down, it's gone. Like, that conversation is not in the LLM's weight.
Really? Because like if I'll ask, like I was looking up what TV I was gonna buy like a few weeks ago, and I can like just type what TV did I buy a couple weeks ago, and it'll literally find it for me.
Oh yeah, you'll find it because it's stored in memory, right? It's stored. The data is stored somewhere in a hard drive in the OpenAI center.
The model's not training off of that information. It's only storing that information so it can be collectible.
Yeah, but that's not ChatGPT.
Okay.
Like ChatGPT didn't suddenly, oh, I remember you saying that. No, it's because ChatGPT ingested all the text all over again, and then it will in real time compute. Okay, this user asked me this. I said this. User said this. I said this. Well, let me give you a new response now.
I didn't turn it in.
But yeah, if you're interested though, however, definitely check out retrieval augmented generation. This is the basic of what modern AI engineering is, powered by large language models. So instead of like just prompting LLM, you have some sort of like inside documents you want the large language model to retrieve, and then be able to help with user or make some actions. And so besides RAG, you may want to also look into MCP. That goes in hand with what Timothy was saying earlier with one of the professors that's doing here, the automated center, like the making automated facts, for example, right? What the large language model is able to do is use MCP to like access different tools, prompts,
I thought that's already
resource.
a thing, though.
Yeah, that is a thing. Or
Okay.
MCP.
Or
That's-
just like people can totally like have their model like go into Outlook and like
Yeah.
send the email with the document.
That's
pulled
MCP.
from their- okay.
That's like on the developer standpoint, that's powered by model context protocol that gives it's another protocol, right? Just like HTTP. But instead of interacting with hosts and servers and clients is contacting clients and servers for large language models.
I'm keeping up as much as I can.
No,
Being a
no.
finance major.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But yeah, so this is what developers has been doing.
So would there be a way theoretically to use this and go into like use this and get all the information about how a company operates, what their cash flows are, what they're doing, who's doing what job, and getting it to tell me, okay, these are the ways we can now automate this system better. So these are the things that these people are doing in the system that we can do automatically. For what like
Yes.
or like AI can do automatically.
Here's what I think. Here's what I tend to think. Think about your, like, throw your AI, LLM stuff out the window and just think of it as another software. It's the same as any other software that it is before. Besides, maybe now it can do a little bit more complex task.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? Because automation is nothing new.
Yeah.
Software automation has been here ever since the computers. It's the now I can use my computer to quote unquote understand natural language that is magical about it. Like previously, right? I can like take in some language, but my computer doesn't understand what the hell to do with that natural language. But today with LLM, same automation task, but my machine can look at this natural language and say, oh, I can give a response to that, or I can grab some other data and then pull that into a generated response and then back to my user, right?
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I was also have been curious about just different solutions where, like even B2B sales, like where you can just figure out like who works in what position, what they do, what companies. In finance, it's all about like, you're either selling product or partnerships.
Right.
And I don't know where you're going, but I think it'd be really cool to like know stuff like that. Kind of like a Bloomberg, but for like B2B sales or like enterprise.
Like almost like an AI consultant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like consultants kind of in that area where like come in and like not as much as just like a straightforward job, but kind of a consultant. They go in and kind of observe and say, okay, we can cut out these people, or we can cut out these tasks by doing something else.
You know, OpenAI has a consulting arm now. Did you hear about that? Okay, so part of OpenAI's revenue is they go into companies and they are kind of like competing against like Deloitte, and they're competing against McKinsey because they are themselves. So all these companies, they want AI consulting, and why go to McKinsey when OpenAI just launched OpenAI Consulting? You're going to pay directly the people who are selling it to you, because McKinsey's just going to tell you what you should buy, and they're going to go to OpenAI to sell it. But OpenAI does it themselves. So if that's what you're talking about, OpenAI does have a consulting arm. So that's one thing that is happening right now. That there's a lot of different. I think the thing about AI is like on the business side, everyone's scared because no one knows what the greatest ROI is. Like even like these content creation stuff, like Jerry's point, like all this stuff is eventually going to be so cheap, but like there's so much investment poured into it
I still
that
think
a lot of people.
ChatGPT is only $20 a month. Like the amount of stuff that I
Billions put into it.
They could have charged. They could have started at $100 a month, and I guarantee they still have at least half the users.
Yeah. Now it's going to be harder though, because again, like there's so many other ways you can get this stuff that now, like me, I pay $30, almost $40 for my version of ChatGPT. I almost want to cancel it soon because I'm like, I can get it for free anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get like more attainable.
I canceled my ChatGPT because Google gave out their like big AI plan, $200 value. Every single college student gave it out for free.
So
You get a
what
whole year
advantage
of it.
do you get from paying for ChatGPT? I've always like felt like the free versions are always good enough.
Yeah, I think you get a lot more messages. As on
With the
the
newest models, right?
Yeah, the messages,
Yeah.
newest models, and I think you get some credits. and
Images
stuff.
probably, and video. Yeah, fair enough.
But I felt like I wasn't getting that value.
None of my LPs want to give money for AI projects right now. Like today, they were so excited to get AI projects just 2 months ago, but right now they're saying there's this conspiracy that, because Sam Altman was on Twitter at RTX and he was like, hey, like, we monitor the sites that do well on OpenAI because we eventually want to make a service with whoever's doing the best. So it's like, he was like, whoever will win gets the most amount of people on their website, but it's
Oh,
like you have the
the-
most amount of people. Whoever does well,
Yeah,
they can mimic that, and it's like why
Yeah.
invest $3 million into a startup that uses OpenAI when
Yeah.
they see you doing well, they're just gonna add it to their own system. So
Right.
even Bloomberg, it's like Perplexity has like real-time market data now. So it's like, why invest in fintech when Perplexity is going to do everything that like you do well?
Yeah.
And it's just dollars wasted. It's all market data for OpenAI right now. They
Right.
can go any direction depending on who is doing the best.
Yeah, they have all the data in
They
the
have
world.
all the data. So
Yeah.
it's very scary to build an AI right now since it's a monopoly on the infrastructure.
Exactly, and that kind of loops into one of my critique on what I see currently is that, like, too many people just jump the gun and throw money into it because it's AI, but like. AI intrinsically isn't anything new. It's still like boiled down to your client. Either it's 2B or 2C, right? It's still just a software as a service, or it's still just another website, right? So if you're not, if your business that you're throwing money into isn't oriented towards a good business model or a good customer experience, it doesn't freaking matter. It's using AI or the most state of the art model.
Yeah.
You're not running a successful corporate whatsoever.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, are there successful ones? Yeah, like Perplexity is pretty well. Claude is doing Anthropic is doing pretty good, but that's because they have the edge and then the technology to compete with OpenAI, right? And that's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
User experience and network effect, I think, are the top two defenses right now. Like, if you build the next Slack, it's hard for OpenAI to replicate that because it's like
Right.
when your app gets better, the more people who use it. It's
Right.
like OpenAI can't just change and become Slack because then they're not OpenAI anymore. So I think
Yeah.
that is what I would invest into. Anyone who's like, okay, like we have a strong network effect, or like you said, the user experience, almost like a banking app, is like so different than like I can't like go on OpenAI and like check my bank account today.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow OpenAI will be like, hey, you know, OpenAI bank.
But please don't do that, right? Like, please don't give your banking information to OpenAI.
That'd be dangerous.
You know,
I
yeah,
imagine I would.
exactly.
Have you seen that ChatGPT browser? Was it ChatGPT?
Bro,
Yeah.
I was
Atlas?
just telling them about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did see that.
I haven't downloaded it yet. What's the news? Is it good? Is it bad?
It's just like
It's a little assistant.
It's
It's
a
just be
pro-
helping
yeah.
me while you search. I mean, it's pretty decent. They've had it with a lot of searches. Apparently, it's crazy at shopping.
Or there's just
Oh, of
Google.
course.
I mean, have you heard about Google.com?
But it's just another.
They also have an AI overview.
It's just a
So, yeah.
Chromium.
Yeah, well, it goes on, like, the
with AI
side.
tools.
Oh, okay.
We have the little multimodal.
You know they're gonna
browser.
hit you.
So that's again, it's like the Edge. I'm gonna use Edge, and they got the same.
You've been using Edge?
Bro,
No way. You willingly use Edge. No, it's Microsoft.
Facts. All my edges rise up.
Listen, Edge is Chromium based. It works. There's everything Chrome can do. It just has a nice UI, in my opinion. Actually, Firefox, I used to use Edge too. And I think I kind of. Firefox, because I'm trying to break out of that Chromium monopoly. But